Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So this afternoon we have Javorn Ferrell with us, and Javorn has come through the basketball world to real estate. So I'm very excited to talk to him about how he got there. Javorn, it's great to have you. Can you just kind of go through a little history of how you got into commercial real estate?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me, by the way. Um, I'll start just back from my basketball days. I was a year out of college playing basketball in Europe, came home, um, realized that basketball wasn't going to be around that much longer because my body couldn't really take it. Um, that said, I started working with different at-risk youth groups in DC. And the reason I was doing that is because I just have a passion for helping people. And I realized at the level that I was at, I wasn't gonna be able to make the impact that I wanted to make. And literally a Google search of, how do I, become rich? And again, it was to figure out different ways to impact the community. And the first thing that came up was real estate. And then from there, I started, doing a bunch of research, finding different symposiums and conferences and different books, and just getting the knowledge that it was a whole new world to me. I didn't. It was nothing that I ever thought of. It was a whole new world to me, and for me, what I was learning at the time was mostly things on the single family side. I had no exposure to the commercial real estate um, sector at that point. So at that point, I had to find a niche in the real estate world, and because I have a passion for helping people, I was drawn to pre foreclosures, and I was working with individuals in pre foreclosure, and from there, few steps eventually led to me in commercial real estate. But if you want, I'll allow you to ask questions on that, or if you want me to jump into it, I could. But
Well, you went
yeah,
through a construction phase. You never got your actual contractor's license, right?
no, I only got a home improvement sales license.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you did part of it, but
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but you did at some point, did you get a real estate license?
Yes, I have. I'm still licensed in both Virginia and California.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So off you went, and then you started working with this company that was doing uh, own or build to rent. I'm not familiar with that term. So for the audience sake, can you give us a little clue of what that is?
Yeah, so build to rent is essentially it looks like a master plan development, like a neighborhood, but all of the units are to be rented. And different companies do different things. Some companies do like townhome style. Some companies do, front yard, backyard. Some don't. We do small apartment sized houses
Mm.
um, that are effectively ran. They're not individually parcelized, but they're all on one plot of whether it's 20 acres, 25 acres, or on one parcel of land, and that allows us to effectively run it as a multifamily property. Right, it's a Class A multifamily property essentially with 150 roofs,
Oh, wow.
and we have all the Class A amenities, swimming pools. And in our project in Texas, we have like a golf simulator
Oh, wow.
in the community space. We have, all the amenities that you would get at a Class A apartment building, and then some in these built to rent communities. And then a lot of times they're gated, just depending on what each jurisdiction will allow you to do. So yeah, it's a newer model, and it's essentially geared towards um, a lot of younger folks who are they're growing out of their apartments and they're ready to start a family, or empty nesters who want to downsize, right? And they're either not because our issue right now in the country is affordability and housing, right? And but people still want to feel like they have a home. So
Right, right. Oh, I just lost your voice wise.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Uh,
So, so that's interesting. So the whole concept is rather to rent rather than sell or condominiumize. So you obviously have to kind of run the numbers and know what the market rate's going to be for rental and how much your
Correct.
construction costs are going to be. So in Texas,
Right.
that's probably a little easier equation to work through than say in California.
That's actually funny. Things here pencil also. Things here in California pencil also. We have I mentioned to you earlier that we closed on a site a few months back, and that was in Palmdale. We closed on two parcels of land, 10 acres, which equals 20. And then we're in escrow on a 22-acre parcel in Fresno.
Wow.
And one thing that we have the ability to do with California, because California is so California, their Section 8 vouchers are so high. We're able
Right.
to, we're not necessarily solely Section 8 based, but we can peg the rents at those costs and allow our units to be available for Section 8 voucher holders because those numbers still pencil. If you look at like a 3 bedroom or a 4 bedroom Section 8 voucher, it's more than the price of rent in certain places in the southeast.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it still pencils here.
Oh wow, that's interesting. So you can fly like Fresno. So how long does it take you to get from like buying the dirt to actually having a completed project?
Um, that from the very beginning, that's difficult, but I would say roughly 7 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because
Oh
we haven't completed a full life cycle on any of them yet.
yeah.
Um, our our inaugural project, we got it under contract in 2020.
Uh-huh.
Um, and we didn't close escrow until 21, I believe. We got it under contract late 2020, and we didn't close escrow until late 21. We have long escrows because a lot of times we find these parcels of land off market, and most of these people, they weren't looking to sell anyway, so they give us the time that we need to conduct our due diligence and everything that we need to do pre-development wise to adhere to whatever it is the city wants, or change the city's minds on some things. Yeah, we normally have long escrow. So from when we actually close escrow and purchase the land to being ready to build and develop and full development, it's probably a 4-year process from
Oh, okay.
close of escrow to actual development and fully ready.
So how are you finding these properties? Are you just going out and looking and finding raw dirt
We
and
Yeah, we send out mailers. So in our Texas projects, we obviously during COVID, Austin was the thing, right? Everyone was moving to Austin.
right.
And we obviously for us, it didn't make sense to go into Austin, right? We were looking at the outskirts of Austin. Where was the sprawl? Where were things being developed? And we decided to look anywhere within like a 40-minute drive to the central business district in Austin, and we came up on Pflugerville and Buda, Texas. And
Uh,
those are two places in Texas where we are. And we're not going to oversaturate any one market with this product because we believe our product is like different and special, and there's not going to be a need for you know 1,000 units in one particular market. So, like I told you earlier, we have about 1,000 units in the pipeline, but they're all in different markets. Two in Texas, the two in Palmdale, one in Fresno, in Montana also. So, like, we're all over the place.
wow. And so you're kind of, and what's the size is typically like 10 acres or something like that. How many units can you?
Minimum of 10 acres, but the sweet spot is anywhere like that 17 to 22 acres. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How many units can you get on that many acres?
That's the thing. It depends on the city. We typically like to be at around 8 to 12 units an acre.
Ah, okay.
The Fresno project that we're working on, that's the one that's going to close in May, the middle of May. Um, that project, it's not a bad thing, but they are asking for 16 units an acre. We like for it to be less dense because it feels more neighborhoodly. It feels It feels more like a home. So it, but yeah, we typically do 8 to 12 units an acre. But for certain projects, if the city needs a specific density, we have to meet certain requirements. We will do that.
Wow, that's interesting. That's the first where I've seen a developer actually wants less density
Right.
than he wants. That's unusual.
Yeah, I mean, we care about the aesthetic more so than just like stacking housing, right? We want the product to look good, and we want it to, we want people to drive by them and feel good about living there, and not just look like every other cookie cutter thing out there.
Right, right. So, do you have architects on in your office, or you would just hire that
No,
out?
our shop is really small. It's five of us. It's five of us here in the office on a daily basis. But in terms of architects and any third party vendors, we find the best in market. So in every different market that we're in, we try to go with a national reputable company. But then we also reach out to the different partners that we have in each market and see who they believe that we should go with. And it's worked and it's helped. Obviously, it's more expensive when you go with the best, but we try to leave ourselves a little bit of cushion in our underwriting to make sure things still pencil even with the priciest vendors.
So you're in Montana, Texas, California. That intrigues me. How are you deciding which markets to get into?
It's just what we, it's funny. So Texas, most of it is um, the reason Texas was a play. Obviously Austin, right? But then their zoning laws they're just easier to deal
Yeah,
with
right.
than
Yeah,
most other places. So yeah, it was just easy in Texas. Um, Fresno and Palmdale. Palmdale makes sense because it's in LA County, and what I mentioned to you about like the Section 8 vouchers, it
right.
just pencils. And then Fresno, we just believe in Fresno. Again, we're not going to do 8 projects in Fresno. We might do another one after this one, but definitely this one. But Fresno makes sense because Central California, it's forgotten about, but it's huge when we talk about like the farming industry and things of that nature, right? And we've driven up there quite a few times. It's a 3.5 4 hour drive from LA, but when you go up there, you do see new multifamily, and you also see some new home developments. But you look at the rental rates of some of the single family houses, and they're either really really high or really really low, and there's nothing in between. So you could either get like a really old product or a really new product for a variation of prices. So we figured that we could put ourselves in the middle of that market there. Um, and and where the way that Fresno's growing, like that area, when you look up around the Clovis area, also like we're looking at the Fresno Clovis area, to we just figure that the rents there are gonna be able to support our underwriting, and um, I'll tell you one thing, they will beat our Texas numbers.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's
Yeah, and then for Montana, it's actually funny. The owner of our company, he just likes it. He thinks that
oh,
he likes it, but he thinks that he goes there every year to
Boise
ski.
or
But
where? Oh, okay.
no, in Montana, what is it? Bozeman.
Yeah, Bozeman. Yeah.
Yeah, so he goes there every year to ski, and he just believes in it. He thinks that there is going to be like the same way that Austin had a bunch of people move out there. He just thinks that it's a cute town that folks with money are gonna eventually move to, whether they're retired or what. And especially, well, this was also back when remote work was a thing before before we weren't
Yeah,
allowed to remote
right.
work anymore.
They're forcing people back.
Right. So, people were moving to like Boise, Idaho, and these places that were a bit cheaper than LA and New York City, just because, hey, wow, this is beautiful. We have mountains around. I could go skiing every day, So
Yeah, I can still
that
work out of my house.
right. So that was the thought. That's the thought for there. And then we're looking at other places as well. There's places along the eastern seaboard that make sense. Also, land is just really, really expensive, and zoning is also difficult there. But yeah, we're always searching. But I think we have the bandwidth to maintain about 6 or 7 at a time, and then once we get those things actually in flowing, then we can start, searching for more sites.
How about Bakersfield? You ever looked at Bakersfield?
We have looked at Bakersfield, and that's something that we were actually interested in, and it's not off of our radar, but it's definitely a city that we're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, we were there a couple of weeks ago and I was sort of surprised at the number of housing developments that are around Bakersfield.
Yeah.
It was interesting. But so anyway, well, that is a fantastic thing. So obviously in the future, you're pretty bullish on the future, it sounds like, if you're buying all these properties and trying to build on them.
On the future, I mean, I'm an optimist, so yes, but I think we just believe in our we believe in our projects one and two. We are really, really conservative. And when I say conservative, like most of these developments, so I'll give you I'll give you numbers just for just so
Yeah.
you could picture this. So in Texas, our first project, um, we underwrote it and we were underwriting at like a 7.5 build to yield,
Oh, okay.
right? And after around that time, there were because everything in the world was amazing, money was cheap.
Mm,
Um, Most other builders were underwriting things at a 5.
yeah.
So when the when the world goes upside down, our money doesn't want to pull out. Our money stayed. So our project was so good and it was so conservative that our LP partner came in and purchased the land with us, which is rare.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's rare and it won't happen today. I can tell you that. But back then it was such a good deal that they were like, okay, yes, we'll purchase this land with you. And we didn't even have it entitled or anything. They purchased the land with us
Wow.
and they were
Wow.
ready to go. So that's how conservative we are. We're not underwriting things to any 5 handle. Everything is high six, especially in today's market, high sixes, trying to get to sevens, but again, super conservative. And most of our underwritten rents are below what the current market is for a Class A apartment. Yeah. And
Right.
we feel like we'll beat Class A apartment buildings, right? Because you get a yard and all the amenities that you get with a Class A apartment and a
Right.
garage and all those things. So yeah,
So it's a much better product, a much more friendly product
right.
than being in an apartment building or condo or whatever. So that sounds fantastic. So I was curious. So you do have partners. How are you going out and finding money, basically?
So once we find our site, once we figure out what it is that we're gonna do, we literally just again I mentioned to you that the owner of our company he owned a brokerage before he was doing developments. He owned a development company shortly thereafter, and he just has a bunch of family friends that we either reach out to or since COVID, a lot of those family friends, they've been in like the wait and see mode and not really deploying much capital.
Right.
So we've been doing a lot of outreach to other private equity firms, and but for the most part, it's been some of those people that have been in our Rolodex.
Yeah. Yeah. You just go and make a call and say, here we go. We're
Yeah, and we put together a nice little pitch deck and we shoot it out. But yeah,
So it sounds like you're kind of in hold right now for buying any more property. Is that true?
correct. Yeah, because we have, again, like I said, we have about 1,000 units in the pipeline,
Yeah.
and we need to we need to finish
Yeah.
what's in the pipeline before we can take on. Because again, like I said, we only have 5 people in the office, and obviously, if there was unlimited capital out there for us, we would be able to do, you know, 20 at a time. We'll just hire more people, but just we don't have the capital partners right now at our disposal to just go out and do 10 or 15 projects at a time.
Right, right. But for now, this sounds great.
Right.
Fantastic.
Right now we have what, 3 capital partners in the 6 or 7 deals that we're working on now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a nice small group, manageable.
Yeah. And
Good.
like all of those guys, we've known them for at the very minimum 5 years. Some of them, the owner of our
Oh,
company's known them for like 15 to 20 years.
oh my gosh. Wow. That's
Yeah, and
good.
so we know them. We sit down with them. We meet them face to face. We can have conversations, and that's good. It's manageable.
Wow. I mean, trust is the whole name of the game.
Right.
So that sounds like you've got a very trusted partners, and they're very trusting in you.
For sure.
Well, so if people wanted to get a hold of you, where would they find you, Javon?
I have LinkedIn. It's just my first and last name, Javorn Ferrell. There's a R in my first name, so Javorn. Last name Farrell, Farrell. I also have a real estate Instagram account, so it's my first name, last name, real estate. So Javorn Ferrell Real Estate. And yeah, those are the two ways that people generally get in touch with me, or just email. My regular email, my work email is jfarrell@newmontis.com. So that's first initial J, then my last name Farrell, Farrell, at Newmontis, NEWMONTIS.com.
Oh, cool. So I'm definitely going to stay in touch. I want to see how these projects go together. I'm very
You and me
excited
both.
about hearing about this. Yeah, yeah, you and me both. Yeah, yeah. I want to keep track of what's going on here. This is very exciting
For
to me.
sure.
So
For sure. Thanks.
great to have you. And
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.